Front mission is supposed to mean tactics, grids, action points, Wanzers trading fire from carefully chosen positions. That is the version people remember. Gun Hazard is the strange one. It takes the same idea of walking tanks and turns it into a side-scrolling action RPG, where the mech is no longer a unit on a board. It is a heavy body you have to move, aim, land, upgrade, and survive inside. That is why this game is worth a proper look. Front Mission Gun Hazard is not just a forgotten Super Famicom spin-off. It is one of the clearest examples of Square in the mid-90s asking a dangerous question. What if an RPG did not have to look like an RPG? The easy summary is this. Gun Hazard was released for the Super Famicom in 1996, published by Square, developed with Omiya Soft, and left in Japan until fan translation work made it practical for English-speaking players. It sits beside the main Front Mission series, but it does not really behave like a mainline Front Mission game.
Very bad feeling about it.
The main games are strategy RPGs. Gun Hazard is a side-scrolling mech action game with RPG structure wrapped around it. You take missions, you talk to characters, you upgrade equipment, you learn the rhythm of your machine. Then the game drops you into a battlefield where all of those menu decisions have to become movement and timing. That genre shift is the reason it fell through the cracks. Front Mission fans expected tactics. Action fans saw a Japan-only Square game that looked like a cousin of Assault Suits Valken or Cybernator. And because the official English release never happened on original hardware, the game never got the clean second life that Chrono Trigger, Final Fantasy, or Secret of Mana enjoyed. But the connection to Valken is exactly what makes Gun Hazard interesting. The developer interview material around the game points to a team that understood side-scrolling mech weight. This is not a platformer where the robot is just a costume. The machine has mass, it has recoil, it has a jump arc, it has a weapon economy, it has a screen presence says you are not controlling a superhero, you are piloting hardware. That distinction matters immediately. In a normal run-and-gun game, the avatar is usually a small target with instant response. In Gun Hazard, the Wanzer fills the screen differently. It asks you to think about where your feet are, where your gun is pointing, and whether you can commit to a jump before the enemy pattern punishes the landing.
Welcome to the party!
The game is not trying to be graceful all the time. It is trying to make the cockpit feel physical. When the suit fires, the shot has a job. When it jumps, the jump has cost. When enemies crowd the screen, you are not just dodging bullets. You are deciding whether your build, your positioning, and your patience can handle the room. That is the first hidden strength of Gun Hazard. It turns weight into identity. A lot of mech games say the machine is heavy, but then control like a normal action hero. Gun Hazard commits harder. Even when the game is simple on paper, the animation and timing tell you that this body is expensive, armored, and not magically agile. Then the RPG layer starts to matter. The interesting part is not only that you can upgrade. Plenty of action games let you buy stronger weapons. Gun Hazard uses that structure to make missions feel like a campaign. You are not just clearing stages, you are slowly turning a basic machine into a personal solution to the battlefield. That is why footage of this game can look repetitive if you only watch 10 seconds. Walk forward, fire, jump, clear enemies. But over a full mission, the question changes. Are you using a weapon because it is comfortable, or because this stage actually rewards it? Are you saving resources because a harder fight is coming? Are you playing like a platform shooter, or like a pilot managing a machine?
That's it, man. Game over, man.
The loadout idea is where the Front Mission DNA still shows through. Even when the game is no longer tactical, it still cares about equipment identity. The Wanzer is not just a sprite with a bigger number, it is a build. That build changes how comfortable you are against flying enemies, shielded enemies, bosses, corridors, vertical sections, and waves that force you to aim while moving. This is the second hidden strength. Gun Hazard makes preparation visible. In a turn-based front mission battle, preparation becomes math. In Gun Hazard, preparation becomes feel. A better weapon does not just increase damage. It changes confidence. It changes how long you are exposed. It changes whether a boss pattern feels manageable or like a wall. The side-scrolling structure also lets the game do something the main series cannot do as easily. It makes the battlefield continuous. You are not selecting a square, you are pushing through space. That makes the war story feel less abstract. Enemy hardware is not waiting politely for its turn. It is standing in the same corridor as you, firing while the screen scrolls. That makes the game a weird bridge between genres. It has RPG towns and upgrades. It has action platformer pressure. It has mech sim weight, but without becoming a simulator. It borrows enough from Front Mission to feel political and military, then borrows enough from Valken-style action to make the politics happen through the player's hands.
Come with me if you want to live.
The story framing helps with that. Gun Hazard is not about a clean sports competition between robots. It is about coups, military power, mercenary work, and people trapped inside the machinery of conflict. That is classic Front Mission language, even if the timeline and presentation are separated from the mainline games. But because this is an action RPG, the story does not live only in dialogue boxes. The story is also in the way the game keeps throwing machines at you. Tanks, soldiers, aircraft, turrets, bosses, and bigger hardware are all part of the same argument. The world is industrial, violent, and constantly escalating. That escalation is one reason the game still works as long-form footage. It is not visually subtle, but it is readable. You can show an early mission and understand the basic loop. Then you can show later combat and immediately see how much busier the screen becomes, how much more the player has to control, and how much the Wanzer has changed from a simple machine into a walking answer to the level design. The boss fights are especially useful for understanding the game. They are not only damage sponges, they test whether you understand the limits of your machine. Where can you stand? When can you jump? Can you keep firing without eating unnecessary damage? Do you actually know the range and rhythm of the weapon you brought in? That is the third hidden strength. Gun Hazard makes boss fights into build checks without completely turning them into stat checks. If the build is bad, the fight feels rough. If the movement is sloppy, the fight still punishes you. You need both. That is a very Square answer to an action problem. The game also has a strange accessibility story. For a long time, Western players mostly encountered it through import talk, emulation, and later fan translation. That changes the shape of its reputation. It did not become a childhood standard for most players. It became one of those games people hear about from someone who says, "Wait, Square made a side-scrolling Front Mission?" That sentence is powerful. It is a title and a pitch at the same time. Square made a side-scrolling Front Mission. A Front Mission spin-off plays like a heavy mech action RPG. The team behind it understood why Cybernator felt physical, the soundtrack has Square names attached to it, and somehow, most people who like retro RPGs, mech games, or Super Nintendo action have still never played it. That does not mean Gun Hazard is secretly flawless. It is still a 1996 action RPG with friction. Some missions are more interesting than others. Some stretches ask you to accept repetition. The translation history means many players met it outside the normal retail path. And if someone comes in expecting the chessboard tension of Front Mission, the first reaction may be confusion. But that confusion is the point. Gun Hazard is what happens when a studio takes the mood of a tactical RPG and tries to express it through weight, recoil, and side-scrolling pressure. It is not replacing Front Mission. It is translating it into a different body. That is also why it fits the current moment. Mech games are easier to explain now than they were for a lot of players in the 90s. Armored Core made people talk about loadouts, boost timing, weight classes, and build identity again. Modern players understand that a machine can be a character. Gun Hazard was already thinking that way on the Super Famicom. The most interesting comparison is not which game is better, it is what each game thinks a mech should feel like. Front Mission says a mech is a military asset inside a tactical system. Cybernator says a mech is a heavy action body inside a war zone. Gun Hazard tries to stand between them. It says a mech is both a build and a body. That is why the game deserves more than a quick hidden gem label. Hidden gem is too vague. The better description is mechanical missing link. It connects Square RPG structure, side-scrolling mech action, fan translation culture, and a kind of physical game feel that still reads clearly 3 decades later.
I am your father.
If you are making a video about Gun Hazard, the job is not just to say that the game is underrated. The job is to show why. Show the jump. Show the weapon rhythm. Show the mission structure. Show the upgrade menus. Show how a boss changes from noise into a pattern once you understand the machine. Show how much of the RPG survives after the grid disappears. That is the part YouTube still does not have enough of. The game has reviews. It has long plays. It has people correctly saying it is overlooked. But the actual magic is in the mechanics, the way the Wanzer moves, the way the campaign gives that movement context, and the way a strategy series briefly became a side-scrolling action RPG without losing its war story identity. So the short version is this. Front mission, Gun Hazard is not important because every retro player needs to call it a masterpiece. It is important because it proves how flexible a game identity can be. Take away the grid, keep the machines, keep the military pressure, keep the customization, and suddenly front mission becomes something else. It becomes a heavy machine walking across the Super Famicom, carrying an RPG inside its armor.